All right, we are back with another edition. Been a while. We took a hiatus. Not a whole lot going on. Georgia's made one hire, so it's nothing really big going on, and that was a quality control. So not a lot going on in the football realm of things, but I did mention the basketball program. I don't know, what was it, about a month ago? Talking about how good this team was. And that's the problem. This team is good, and the SEC is really good this year in basketball. You got number one and number two teams literally played each other Saturday.
In the same state, by the way.
Yeah, I know. So, which is what we're going to get to. Georgia has been poorish. Look at, they had leads in the past two games at halftime, and then they've blown them in ways that are they out of this into the second half, they just go cold. Which I was high on Mike White. I thought he's done a good job turning this program around from 2 games to being competitive. He's brought in good recruiting classes. But, this is what Florida fans were talking about when Georgia hired him, that the second half collapses happen all the time. So the basketball program has been extremely disappointing, and there's really no excuse for the program to be where it's at right now. And I don't know really directionally where I want to go with this because it's a big topic. Talking about the basketball program and then the athletic program outside of football. But I think there might have to be a change that's made. I don't know if Josh Brooks is going to do that.
You're talking about you're talking about just with Mike White, the basketball program?
Yeah. Yeah. It's been 3 years, and you've started every season before SEC play. You have 2 to 4 losses. So you're outside of SEC play, you've been, pretty good. And then just a massive collapse. Georgia beat St. John's. I know it was earlier in the season in basketball, but, that's a tournament team, and they can't get it done in SEC play. So, yeah, I think something has to be done.
Yeah, I don't know what direction we go in, but I would turn it around, and say whatever the decision needs to be made, that with Josh Brooks. The question is, how many resources and how committed are we as an athletic department to really winning at basketball and not just being competitive, but winning at basketball? Because, over the years, I graduated from Georgia in 1993, and we've never been any good at basketball. Very rarely. The 84 team, and then we made that fluke run in the SEC championship when the tornado hit. I think the gods were aligned that year. We really weren't that good. That guy, whoever he was, I forgot, Felton. That is, yeah. If he hadn't won that, he was out the door. So our program, and then you look right next door to us, Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Florida's been, was good for years. The SEC is littered.
Top 5 team.
Yeah. So the SEC is littered with really good programs. To your point, there's no reason, especially with the recruiting base of the city of Atlanta. You look on all these other college teams, look at all these kids. There's a lot of Georgia guys playing ball somewhere else. So I don't know how many dollars are, can we commit to it? What is the direction that are we really wanting to be competitive? Because I would love to be competitive. I would love to tune in, and you got a little taste of what Stegman could be, right? You can't fault the fans. The fans, the students have shown up. They've marketed the thing. You got to give the students and the fans something to watch and a reason to be excited. That the team, in other words, have got to do their part. And I know we talked off air about this, and I would have to go back. This is just a fan, somebody who's, looking out for the best interest of the university. The girls gymnastics team. that we've fallen off the map when it comes to that. The baseball program, maybe we're starting to claw back. The track and field. So outside of college, I don't know what we're doing in tennis. We used to be a powerhouse in tennis. We used to be a powerhouse in golf.
Yeah, good in those.
So I'm just saying, I'm pulling, always will pull. And I told you yesterday when we were talking about doing this topic, we're probably going to irritate some people because we're being critical, but we're being critical because we want Georgia to do well, and we can't take anything for granted and be resting on our laurels. And with the success that Kirby's had with the football program, that being the main driver of the athletic department's budget and money coming from TV deals, when I look across the border and I got number 1, number 2 teams, Alabama and Auburn, and all the other teams in the SEC, and we flounder around like a monkey trying to screw a football when it comes to playing basketball, it seems to me like we're really missing the mark and we could be doing better. So I know you said something about the hires of Josh Brooks. I don't know what sample size we have there, but so far it hasn't been a ringing success, right?
Yeah. I mean, Greg McGarity has he retired in 2017, I believe.
I thought he retired after that, but I don't know.
2017, 2018. So he's been around. Actually, I'll look that up because that actually is a good point.
I thought he retired like the year before COVID, or maybe even COVID.
He might have, but Josh Brooks was still on staff during that time.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, you're right. It was COVID. So 2020. So you've had 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. So you had 4 years. And Josh Brooks has done a good job, I think, putting interest in other sports. So baseball, that was a good hire, what he did. I think baseball is supposed to be really good this year. They looked good in their first series. It's early, so who knows? Basketball, whiffed. I mean, Tom Crean, whiff. Mike White certainly looks like a whiff. Gymnastics, and that was under Greg McGarity too, completely fell off the map. The Gym Dogs were the best.
Yeah.
And now
powerhouse.
They're nothing. Tennis is going to be always good. Golf, as long as Hack is there, they'll always be good. Women's basketball.
That's another one I forgot. It's falling off the map.
With Andy Landers retiring. We lost our head coach to A&M, who was a good coach.
And she was an alumni, right?
Yes. Crazy. How does that happen? Softball. We've been competitive. It could be way better. I know. I mean, there's a ton of talent in softball in the state of Georgia. Equestrian. We don't get enough saddles. But point being is, we have not – every other program has felt like it has fallen behind recently when there was higher standards for those programs. And that's a major problem. And basketball, especially with the NIL, and I know there's going to be legislation coming down. There's going to be collective bargaining and all of that stuff and contracts and all that. But I don't know. It would probably cost $20 million to get 15 guys.
For basketball?
Yeah, for basketball.
I have no idea.
20 million maybe, I would say. And I mean, football alone could finance most, if not all, of the other programs. And it's not fair that they do that, but that is what happens. And there seems to be nothing to back up the selling of these programs. And that falls on the athletic director. So, and I don't give a shit if you're playing hopscotch. If you're wearing a University of Georgia logo and you're representing the university, I expect you to win and to be the best. And I think that should be every Georgia fans and Georgia alum expectation. And they're falling short. And no one said anything, which is kind of crazy to me because
soft media. We're in a soft media market, man. I mean, in terms of holding coaches and you look at it at the Falcons, the Braves, the Hawks, there's no the Atlanta media, even though a sixth largest metro area, the Atlanta and Georgia media and in general is a very soft media compared to. Think about Texas. I mean, and even Auburn. Think about the heat down there on a Auburn coach, but that's not from the media.
That's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's from fans. So maybe I don't know. I agree with you. If you're the University of Georgia, we won 2 national championships since 2020. We're one of the top public universities in the country, in the best conference in the country, and we're fucking around, excuse my language, and looking like shit in basketball and the major. And again, I get it with small sample size, but baseball, the sports that we were good at, we're not nearly as competitive. Gymnastics, track, it needs to be called out. And all I'm saying, because I don't know what direction to go, is that the alumni and the fans, we pay attention. And even though we're not as avid or rabid as we are about football, we could be. I mean, we could be a basketball very easily. People are jonesing in the months of January, February, March to have something to watch and look forward to. And there's no reason to tune in for Georgia basketball right now. Not really.
No, not if they have a 5-point lead over Missouri at home and then they fucking blow it.
We're getting beat by Missouri. I mean, come on.
I mean,
at home, right? Or is it at home?
Yeah, it's at home.
Yeah, man, that's no good.
Mississippi State is a better basketball program, though historically they've always
have always been a pretty good program.
Ole Miss is better than us. Tennessee is actually really good, and that's really disappointing.
Tennessee's been really good for a lot of years. They got the Texas coach, and before him, they had what's his name out of Auburn, right?
Yeah, Bruce Pearl.
Yeah, Pearl.
Yeah. And then you got Alabama and Auburn 1 and 2. And if you go and I watched a little bit of that Auburn-Alabama game, it was an intense environment. It was great to watch. Now, obviously, I know Alabama and Auburn fans will be like, well, we're an everything school. We care about everything. Okay, you would trade everything to win a national championship in football. But they're at least competitive. They're the best teams in the country.
Yeah.
And Georgia cannot do that. And that is a failure on all parts. And that's a failure on the athletic department. That's a failure on the fans and the alumni, the boosters, everybody.
Well, I know this is not where we were going, but I don't know if you saw it. But there's been a change at the Classic City Collective. And I don't know how much a coach – there seems to be no laws. I don't know how much a coach and like Josh Brooks, an athletic director, can really come out and lobby the fan base. Besides going online to the Classic City Collectives, how else can a fan support, and how can we really put some juice around the Classic City Collective? And then secondly, my other question to that is there any kind of transparency to that? Like, I don't know how that works. Like, do we get to see as this is a public university, do we get to see how they're allocating the money, like the collective allocates the money to pay these players, or does that not come out?
I don't know. I've never seen it. I mean, it's always been rumored like you'll see X player got X amount.
Well,
you don't 100% true.
All I'm saying is that, you got Texas and they got Texas A&M, and they've got a collective, I think through a vodka. I think it was a vodka. I don't know what it was, but Texas raised some kind of astronomical number just from marketing some sort of vodka or something. So,
well, I mean, that's a good point, but here's something like, okay, fine. Like but Georgia's one of the richest programs, donations wise. If you go and look at because they have to disclose that, they're up there with Texas. They're above A&M, and they're with Ohio State. Ohio State was the most, by the way. So, okay, like that's great. We're in third or what at fourth. We're in the top 5, right? But then we're getting, and excuse my language, we're getting ass fucked to go to the Sanford Stadium to watch a game. I mean, the ticket prices have gone up, and nothing has been done about making it cheaper.
And up until this upcoming year, the home games have been shitty.
Exactly. So while you expect, you're asking a lot of support for not only money for the collective, but a ton for ticket prices just to get into the game and watch it. It's crazy to me what they're doing. And I know there's going to be changes, but that's where people should be pissed, I think, is where you're going, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're raising all this money and you nothing to show for it. And it's embarrassing.
Well, the analogy that I would make, and this is maybe not a good one, but the same analogy could go for, like, it's a professional organization, just like the Falcons. They have shitty drafts. Well, if the athletic department is one of the richest ones and the money that they have is one of the richest ones, but we can't seem to hire the right type of coaches in these other sports that we've talked about, or get the right type of athletes that can go to, a tournament and potentially make a run on it in basketball or whatever, then we ought to, that's again, I'm not saying this yet, but at a certain point you look at it and say, well, that's an incompetent, underperforming organization. Right.
Yeah. Before we end this subject, I do want to say Josh Brooks has done a lot of good things. I'm not just ragging on the guy. I think what he's done with, the ideas around renovating Stegman was big.
Sanford Stadium,
the renovations there, and the fan experience,
in-game experience,
in-game experience. He listened to the criticism after that Auburn game, so he has done a lot of things that are good, but that can be good. But there's got to be winning behind it, and that's the part that needs to be delivered on next. So that's all I'm saying. So I'll give him another year, and then off with his head next year. All right. So remember, check us out on all social media platforms: X, Instagram, TikTok at Terminus Sports Terminus Sports _ATL. Remember to like and subscribe, comment. We're gonna do another video here in a little bit, ranking the top programs in the SEC. We'll get into that in a minute. So check out that video, and our presenting sponsors, Unishippers, give us a pitch.
We work with small to medium-sized businesses on helping them reduce their shipping cost and becoming a little bit more efficient around the shipping operations. Anything from an envelope all the way up to a pallet or a full 18-wheeler. We have sources and ways to help you. Our small shipments, anything under 150 pounds, go with UPS. And our less than truckload, we've got over 65 carriers. So if you're interested in taking a look at your shipping costs, reach out and ask for Holland Martin, and we'll do a no obligation cost analysis and show you where we can shake out and where we can help you.
All right. Shout out Holland. Remember to subscribe and like, and we'll see you in the next video.